Okay, so the recording started, and we're going to talk today about BitHarvest, and specifically, we're going to talk about Bitcoin mining, and we're going to talk about uh, a way to mine Bitcoin through BitBooster. However, I want to have us talk about some vocabulary first of all. That way, we're kind of all talking on the same page. All right. And so the first thing I'm going to talk about is this is the cash flow quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki. And I'll explain briefly what each one of these quadrants is. Basically, on the left-hand side, these are where people pay the most taxes and they make the least amount of income. And you want to migrate over to the right-hand side, where you pay less taxes and you make more income.
Walter, we aren't
Whoa!
seeing
You want to see my screen? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to see my screen?
For free.
Because my picture was on small, it didn't even occur to me that you weren't seeing my screen. But can you see it yet? Because there's no green border on it.
Yes.
Yes,
we
you can
see it fine.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I'll do that again. So on the left-hand side, we've got we're going to talk about the cash flow quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki. Again, the left-hand side is where you pay more taxes on the left-hand side, and you also make less income. On the right-hand side, you pay a little bit less taxes, and you also make more income. But I want to talk about some significant differences between the employee section and the investor section. Because in the employee section, employees and middle-class people tend to buy doodads. And you go, well, what the heck is a doodad? A doodad is something that the bank calls an asset. And the reason why the bank calls it an asset is because they make money every day or every month, how often you are paying them. Okay, so on their spreadsheet, on their documents, it shows as an asset because for them it is an asset. But this is what keeps the middle-class employees, the middle class, in the middle class, is because their tendency to buy doodads. And they're high interest, and so things that fit into the category of doodads: house, car, motorbike, snowmobile, boat, a yacht, stuff. Okay, so they tend to buy stuff and fill up their lives with stuff, and this is what keeps them in the middle class. Now, to migrate from the middle class, from employees to self-employed. So, for example, if you're a contract painter, you would start off, you'd be an employee. Everybody knows what an employee is. And you start off as an employee, and you eventually start to find contracts on your own. Okay. And so you become self-employed. The opinion kind of is well, if you're going to do it right, you do it right myself. Okay. So people that fit into this category would be self-employed individuals, contractors, painters, plumbers, okay, laborers like that, but also educated people like doctors and lawyers. And those kind of people, they also fit into this category because although they own a business, the problem with this left-hand quadrant is if you don't work a day, you don't get paid. Okay, that sucks. And so if you have a head injury, something happens, and your income ends that day, well, you don't get paid the next day because you didn't work. Okay, so you need to migrate off of the left-hand side quadrants onto the right-hand quadrants. And this is how people go into the big business or business owner. It's an own system. For an example, you can get into here a variety of ways. For the middle class people like you and me, we often are not on the board of directors of any companies. Okay, often not. But that is a way of getting passive income from a business, is by becoming on the board of directors. But for most people, average Joe like you and me, the way they get into this quadrant is by buying a franchise, as an example. So you buy Tim Hortons, or you buy a McDonald's, or you buy any other business, and this is a franchise. It's a business system, and so it's a laid out system for you, and you do this actions and you get paid. Okay, and so you make a little bit more money and you pay a little bit less taxes. Other groups that fit into here would be people that are companies that are word of mouth businesses. Okay, so relationship marketing businesses fit into here. Okay, it's a business system. However, this is this is the quadrant that you want to be in. And the reason why you want to be in here is because this is where you've now learned how to make your assets work for you. So back to my example here. Home is not an asset. Your house is not an asset. But if you had like an Airbnb in the basement or in a room, now it is an asset because now it's paying you every month. Okay, do you understand what the difference between an asset and a doodad is? So things that are in this quadrant is where your money works for you, and so you have assets that are working for you, making you money. Okay, so I want to talk about the best asset in the world to own. It's the best asset. It's the most important asset to have and to store your wealth in. Okay, this asset is called Bitcoin. And the reason why Bitcoin is the best asset to store your wealth is because, like gold, which is also a good asset to store your wealth in, it has some characteristics that are really, really good. It's finite, so there's only a certain amount that'll ever be produced, and it's an intellectual property. So you hold it here, and you can have as much as you can. You need to be buying it every day. You need to own it. And it's a good storage of wealth because it tends to go up over time. And I'll give you an example using gold. Okay, so gold 100 years ago, with 10 bars of gold, you could buy a house. With that same 10 bars of gold today, you can buy a house. Now, what's happened in between is inflation, and so because the dollar is worthless, it just goes up, and the governments print more of it. And as a result of printing more, it goes up. And you can look at situations of hyperinflation, like in Germany in the 1940s and Venezuela going on right now, hyperinflation, and they just print more money. And that's not the solution and so fiat currency is not a good place to store wealth, okay? Whereas Bitcoin is. And so the reason why Bitcoin is because it's finite. You can transmit any amount, a large amount, a small amount, from you to another person at minimal cost. There is a gas fee, okay? But you can transfer it to anyone. You can store it, keep it, and it never can be destroyed. What I mean by that is every single computer on the network has to agree that this copy is yours. And so you cannot make a fake copy. You can't create a copy because every other computer on the network has to agree that this copy is yours. And so that's what the blockchain is all of the computers on the network, they agree. And so the blockchain is just simply a log showing the Bitcoin went from X place to Y place. And it's a log and it can't be changed. And so this is what makes it such a powerful source of way to store wealth. If you look at the price of Bitcoin over years, although it has dips and valleys in the different points in time, it has high points, but overall, it's going up. Okay, so this is another reason why it's a really good storage of wealth, is to protect your income against hyperinflation, because it always happens, because it's not real money. But this is a good bartering system that you have an agreement on. I'll give you this for this, okay? And so it's a good bartering system, and you can hold on to it, and it never gets destroyed, and you can send as much as you want to anyone you want anywhere in the world, okay? So this is making revolutionary changes in the banking system. There are many places in the world that people don't have access to banking systems, and by owning Bitcoin, they can just simply have a wallet, and you can now transfer goods, wealth back and forth. Here, you give me this, I'll give you, 1 Bitcoin type thing, okay? And so people now have access to banking system as a result of owning Bitcoin. And so this is a really important asset to hold, okay? There are many people in the world that are more knowledgeable than me, like Kathy Woods and Robert Kiyosaki and Robert Sale and Michael Saylor. These people talk about the importance of owning Bitcoin, and you can look at them, research your stuff. Now, this is an interesting phenomenon. Banks also know that Bitcoin is an important commodity to own. And so banks actually are going through the process of buying Bitcoin every day, every day. Okay. because they're converting their wealth into Bitcoin. And I would encourage everybody to do that. Buy a little bit of Bitcoin every day and convert your wealth into Bitcoin. Now, the reason why you do that is because that way you're protected. You're protected from inflation, you're protected from all the things we just talked about. But the other reason why you do that is because the banks will often tell you, oh, don't do this, don't touch the Bitcoin, it's really bad. And yet they turn around and buy it. Why is that? Okay. So there's something funny going on when the bank will tell you one thing and they will do something else. Companies, big companies like BlackRock, other financial institutions, they own Bitcoin and they own massive amounts of Bitcoin, and they're acquiring more and more as we go along. Okay. Countries that own Bitcoin. The United States, massive amounts of Bitcoin. Germany, China, El Salvador. These are all countries that own lots and lots of Bitcoin. Now, let me explain to you how Bitcoin is made. Okay. Bitcoin is, like I said, it's intellectual property. And what happens is this is a mining machine. And what the mining machine does is every day, not every day, the mining machine, how it mines for Bitcoin is the following way. Okay. I'm going to give you a graphical interface so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay. So every single one of these blocks that are falling down here in the sky are a transaction of Bitcoin going on right now as we speak. Every single one of these transactions is a Bitcoin transaction going on. And the way the mining machine works is it detects movement on the network, detects movement. Okay. And so it begins to do a mathematical computation because it detected movement on the network, does a mathematical computation to then come to a resolution at the answer of a problem. Once it receives the answer to the problem, it then posts that this Bitcoin was transferred from X to Y. And that posting of it makes it so that that computer, which won that transaction, earns the gas fee on that transaction. Okay. So that computer, which made the transaction, then earns the Bitcoin in that transaction. After 10 minutes, this block here is then revealed. Every 10 minutes, a new block is revealed. And that block, during the revealing process, Bitcoin is created. Okay. Every 4 years, that revealing process is halved. And so it started off with the mining machines every 10 minutes, one Bitcoin was created. Now it's significantly less than that, but that's okay. The mining process will continue for another 200 years because that's how much Bitcoin is still yet to be mined, to be created. Okay. And the transactions of Bitcoin will continue for a long time after that because people are always sending Bitcoin from here to there, from here to there. Okay. So the Bitcoin itself is then deposited into the mining pool. Now, the way people get the Bitcoin back out of the mining pool is corporations like Coinbase or Binance or Crypto.com or Kraken. Okay. These actually buy the Bitcoin from the Bitcoin miners. And they pull it, and they are able to then pull it out of the mining pool. Okay. So that's how majority of people receive Bitcoin, is they buy it from a retailer and the retailer buys it from the mining pool. So I want to talk to you about how we participate in the mining process. Okay. By us participating, we actually receive the Bitcoin directly from the mining pool because we're connected to the computer or computers that put it there. And so because we're connected to the computers that put it there, we then, when we withdraw our Bitcoin, receive it directly from the mining pool as well. So this is what I want to talk about, is the Bit Booster. Okay. And the Bit Booster it's a device. It's just a USB device, and it plugs into a server, and the server is in Kuala Lumpur. There's 500,000 boosters that are going to be sold, and we can buy those. Okay, they cost $1,000 each. And the booster itself, it connects via VPN, virtual private network, to the mining pool, which I just showed you before, just a second ago. It connects directly. Now, what it does is it does some important stuff. Okay, the major cost for the miners is electricity. That's the biggest cost they have. And so they have to pay the electricity every month. And we, by getting involved, make the mining process more efficient. Okay. And I'll explain how this happens. For example, if I use fruit, okay, so you've got the apple job, which is really easy, just take a bite out of it. The banana job, really easy, you just kind of peel off the edges. The orange job, you have to get your thumb involved and peel off, okay? And the last of all, you've got the pineapple job, okay, as an example. And these are levels of difficulty. So these jobs that the device detects, that the network detects movement in the network, what's the booster does is the booster now detects this movement, and it filters these jobs in order of easiness to hardness, and fires these easy jobs off to the mining machine, so that the mining machines get these jobs done more quickly. As a result of getting those jobs done more quickly, they receive that Bitcoin from each job. Okay, and so this helps to reduce the electricity, because then the mining machine can simply it works and as needed, or which it normally does without us involved. It just is full speed on all the time and is firing away at the network. Okay, and so this is a gross overuse of electricity. And so with this machine, the USB device, it makes it so that the mining process is more efficient, and it gives it to the miners, and then we receive the Bitcoin as a result. Okay, and so one machine can service one bit booster can service a few mining machines. I'll give you some other information examples. Okay, so let's say that, well, let's say, I'm telling you, over the past 4 or 5 months, we have made 100 Bitcoins as of June 26th in this process. So we've got 3 mining companies that we've got contracts with. One is in Texas, one is in Ethiopia, and I don't remember where the last one is. Okay, and so the boosters are connected to these different mining companies, and in this process, we've produced 100 Bitcoin over the entire time since we started in May 6th. Okay, and from those 100 boosters, 100 Bitcoins that we've created, 60% went back to these mining companies. Okay, 60%. So using that number 100, that means 60 Bitcoins went back to the mining company. 30%, so 30 Bitcoins, go to us, the Bit Boosters owners. That's where we are getting our money from, is these 30% of the Bitcoin that is created. 10% goes back to our parent company, BitHarvest. And they're kind of like the facilitator between this contract of us. Okay, and so they 10% went to them, so 10 Bitcoins. 30% went to us, so 30 Bitcoins, and 60% went to the mining farms. 60%, 60. And this helps to offset the electricity costs, and so it makes it more efficient by them mining the way we are. And so they're going, yeah, sure, I'll take on that contract like that. I mean, I don't have to put out any more money onto my operation. No. You're going to take on all the money? Yep. So your guys are going to buy these little boosters, and I just have to sign a contract that I'll give you 40% of the Bitcoins that we earned during this process? Yep. Yeah, I'm in. And that's exactly what happened. Is our guys, one of the guys was on the floor, and our boss, Logan Lee, he's at the convention in Dubai in April, And that's how we picked up one of the contracts. Is the one guy was a miner, and he's like, "Oh, I'll take that on, sure, anytime." And so that's how we got our second miner. It was great. This is the output that's been produced over the past 4 months, 6 months actually, of mining that we've done. Okay, so let's compare if you were to have a 1 Bitcoin compared to buying 70 machines. And the reason why I use 1 Bitcoin and 70 machines is because $70,000, one machine is $1,000. Okay, so that's about $70,000, 1 Bitcoin. Okay, now what will happen? This is the reason why it's so important to own assets and to have assets working for you. Okay, for example, you buy 70 boosters. By the end of the year, that Bitcoin, the 1 Bitcoin, generated as a result of these boosters 1.823 Bitcoins. So it means at the end of the year, you now have 70 boosters and 1.823 Bitcoins. Next year, you still have 70 boosters, and it makes you another 1.823 Bitcoins. The year after that, you still have 70 boosters, and it buys you, and you've earned 1.823 Bitcoins again. Every day it pays you. It's a one-time fee. The booster's $1,000. One-time fee. You never have to pay anything more if you don't want to. That's okay. And it works for you every day after that. It just keeps on working and working and working and working, generating Bitcoin for you. This is like the best business ever. It truly is. Okay. Let me compare this opening a business compared to any other business. Okay, so my niece is a dentist. She just bought her office a couple of years ago, and I don't know how much she had to pay exactly, but let's say it was $50,000. Okay, so compare that to buying 50 boosters, also $50,000. So same cost. Okay, the monthly output cost that she has is about $1,000 a month. Yep, very typical. The monthly income is $1,000 a month. And the yearly income is $12,000 a month. And if she doesn't go to work, she doesn't get paid. Okay, that's really important. Whereas you could buy 50 boosters, it's $50,000. Daily income, approximately $200. Monthly, $6,000. Yearly, $72,000. And I can go to Hawaii and sleep on the beach. I can do whatever I want because it's still paying me every single day. This is why you need passive income, is because whether I go to work or not, it still pays me. Let me compare it to real estate. Okay, so I've had some experience in real estate as well, and this is typical house. Let's say you buy the property for $100,000, so that's 100 boosters. You buy 100 boosters for $100,000, same cost. You've got fix-up costs. You've got advertising costs. You've got weekly, monthly, yearly costs, and who knows when you'll get the sale, and or advertising for a tenant. And then you've got tenant problems. Nice, gotta love that, eh? They'll call me up in the middle of the night to fix my toilet. So you got to manage your tenants. Okay, headaches, headaches, headaches. Monthly cost, monthly income estimated about $500. So this is after the mortgage is paid. You're now pocketing $500. Okay, yearly income $6,000. This is pretty typical. I used to do real estate as well. Whereas you can buy 100 boosters, 1,000K daily income, $100,000. Daily income is about $400. Monthly estimation $12,000. Yearly estimation $144,000. I'm going, gee, this is a no-brainer. Okay, so this is what the Bit Booster is. Okay, so it is an asset that makes us money. Let's talk a little bit about the company. Okay, here is a picture of the server room, the office. You can tour the offices anytime you want, and if you let us know you'd like a tour, we'll actually pay for the hotel right across the street, and you can have your wine and dine and go check it out. Go meet the boss. Have a great time. This is the server room. In here, so one little rack, one of these little teeny weeny racks here, holds 20 boosters. Okay, there's like 1,000 something boosters in this room here. There are actually 3 server rooms up near the head office at different points in the city to help against mitigate against disaster recovery. Okay. And so that's what I really liked about this business is we got 10 more minutes. That's okay. Is there's no setup cost. I don't have to babysit the machine. It's housed at the main office. I don't have to babysit my client because it's an easy, you don't even have to configure anything. You just simply buy it and away you go. And there's no additional costs. You get a 5-year warranty with this thing. I don't see a downside to this. And you get paid in Bitcoin every day. So as an example, I will show this to you. You get paid in Bitcoin every day. So $100 USDT, you get paid, 50 cents. $500, $250. $1,000, $3 to $5 a day. $10,000, $30, $50 a day. $50,000, $150 to $250 a day. $100,000, $300 to $500 a day. And $1 million, $3,000 to $5,000 a day. Okay. All right. So because we're running out of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my share right now at this point, and I'll let you know that what we can do as soon as the time ends, we can jump right on the same Zoom again, and I'll continue answering questions. So I'm actually going to turn off the recording at this point. I want to say something to the recording before I close this. Okay. It's important that you take action. $100, like here in Canada, $10,000, easy, because, most people 3-4 months of income is way over that. If people are putting $100 in Venezuela and Ethiopia, which is 3 months of income there, like I'm sure we can, but do what you're comfortable with, but you need to take action. Talk to the person that gave you this video, get your link, create your ID today. Buy a share at least. Have a good experience. Make some withdrawals. Have a good experience. Okay. And that's what we want to do is have people make money. All right. I will stop the share.